That snaps for losers, man. I don't get involved in that stuff, but
And Rashad Milligan rolling out.
That's a good question.
Brandon,
We
you want one
can't, we
quick
can't, we
question?
can't ask Rashad questions.
Hey, Rashad.
Perk versus Ben Simmons. Apparently Perk and Bill Simmons is beefing because Kendrick Perkins said that he believes the Toronto Raptors are going to be a top 6 seed in the Eastern Conference next year. And Bill Simmons called him out and said like, oh, da, da, da. But I guess Bill Simmons has probably been doing this thing for a while now where he just kind of makes fun of Kendrick Perkins, as do a lot of people. And that's a whole nother thing because there is some stuff to make fun of with Kendrick Perkins being on ESPN. But it's also like same thing with Stephen A, right? There's a lot of things you can like make fun of and talk about with Stephen A being on ESPN and things of that sort and becoming the face of ESPN and the current state of sports media and everything like that. But there's also, I feel like, a line. And a lot of times when the lines are blurred, people can cross that line. What am I talking about? Talking about white people, talking about black people.
Just leaving set, heading to this other event that I got to do. Thinking about Bill Simmons, cupcake ass. Always got my name in his mouth. But I'm going to address you Sunday, okay? Believe that. I'm going to address you on my special edition, me only, yours truly, Sunday on Road Tripping, okay? They give me my spot, and I'm going to get on your ass like back pockets because I'm not tired of you. I don't know who anointed you, the preacher or king of the head honcho of overseeing basketball and way things need to be. Man, what have you done? What have you done? What have you done, period, in the game of basketball? Have you ever played?
You wrote the basketball book. The thing about it, though, Bill Simmons, a lot of times when people are like, Bill, like, what have you done? And then he's like, well, I wrote a 500-page book about basketball and this and that. Like, even after all of that in his podcast where he talks about, like, basketball, like, 24/7, and he's done it for the last 15 years or whatever. With all that said, Bill Simmons has had some of the worst takes I've seen in basketball history, bro. Everything is like major with him. It's like, oh, this is the worst trade in modern sports. That's what he said yesterday about the Pelicans trade with the Hawks to trade up 10 spots. And then what else? He said the Trae Young trade for Luka Doncic on draft day was the worst trade in the NBA in the last 50 years. He said it was the worst trade since the Hawks traded Bill Russell from the St. Louis Hawks to the Boston Celtics. He called the Paul Pierce, Kevin Garnett trade from the Brooklyn Nets from the Boston Celtics to the Brooklyn Nets. He called that the worst decision in Boston Celtics history, despite the fact that that trade built the foundation for the next championship for the franchise in Boston Celtics history. And essentially, what Kendrick Perkins said, what Kendrick Perkins essentially said here to Bill Simmons was, he said, hold on, give me a sec. What he said to Bill Simmons was, who made you the king of the blacks? That's what Kendrick Perkins is just now saying. He said, who made you the king of the blacks, Bill Simmons? The way that Bill Simmons is talking about folks is insane, dog. But I mean, it is what it is. Like I said, that's his job. He wrote a 500-page book. He became a millionaire. I was speaking about the NBA. Why not continue to speak about the NBA? Does Spinman have a sports network? I know Colin Cowherd has his network. Simmons did. He used to. No. Does he still own The Ringer? Did he sell The Ringer? Hold on. The Ringer. Because Bill Simmons he founded The Ringer, I believe. Did he sell it? Sell? Hold on. I'm tweaking. I'm sorry. Spotify, sell, mints, The Ringer's Bill Simmons. Okay, Spotify signs Bill Simmons to a new deal. Spotify paying up to $250 million. So yeah. His network is The Ringer. That's Bill Simmons. So super rich dude. That is just like his takes be all the way off, bro. So for him to talk the way he talks about other people, about like, oh, that's asinine, that's this and that, it's kind of ironic Because you be the main one missing stuff. Speaking of the Hawks, can I offer Trey Johnson for Derek Queen? The Hawks don't have Derek Queen. Derek Queen, he on the Pelicans. You got to talk to the Pelicans for that. Okay, so I guess I'll also represent the Pelicans now, huh? Do the Pelicans want Trey Johnson? No. The Pelicans got Jeremiah Fears. They good. We move. Simmons is too much of a homer for me. He's backing Belichick over his girlfriend antics. Boston out. I gotta go.
And I usually don't even
Gotta go pop my car. Listen to the Bill Simmons podcast, eh?
address people because I don't even be really caring about it, but it's kind of pissing me off because you feel like you sitting on this throne. You got in your feelings. You got in your feelings because I said that I feel like the Toronto Raptors are going to be a top 6 seed in the Eastern Conference this upcoming season. So that wasn't a crazy take or anything to that nature. It's a real thing, fool. When you look at the Eastern Conference, Indiana, Tyrese Halliburton most likely going to be out for the entire season. We know what Jason Tatum is going through with his Achilles as well. Boston blowing the whole damn thing up. The only teams that I'm thinking about right now is the Cavs, right? The Orlando Magic, the Detroit Pistons going to be back, in the New York Knicks. That's 4 teams. And when you think about the most important position in the NBA, which is the perimeter, they have that. They have 2 all-star caliber players. 2, maybe 3 if you include R.J. Barrett, with Brandon Ingram and Scotty Barnes. You know what I mean? So why was that like, oh, he said this and man, shut up. You didn't think before you started drinking them Heinekens.
Oh.
And then you got your little peanut gallery up on the podcast who just agree, yeah, Bill, you're right, stand up. Man, shut the hell up. The hell you done. But I'm going to get more on your ass come Sunday. Believe that. I'm going to finish doing my research on you. Enough is enough. Like you some type of head honcho. You ain't no shot caller.
A beef over the Toronto Raptors being a top 6 seed in the Eastern Conference is hilarious. This is such a weird beef. Drake got to get involved. He's got to. The international ambassador of the Toronto Raptors has to get involved. They are beefing over the Toronto Raptors being the top 6 seed in the Eastern Conference and that. Mind you, it's not even July. They're talking about who's going to finish as a top 6 seed in the Eastern Conference of the NBA in April 2026, in June 2025. That's what this is all about. Just so you know. So Bill Simmons responded, and it was a subtweet because he didn't say his name. I'm honored that you sat in the car for 2+ minutes to scold me on your iPhone like this as I type from my iPhone, even though we are a combined age of like 92. If you actually think Toronto would be a top 6 seed in the Eastern Conference and anything other than quote unquote most fun place to visit, let's wager on it ASAP. If Perk was smart, he would get dirt from former ESPN coworkers. Well, Kendrick Perkins has welcomed Bill Simmons to the Sherganti. Oh, man. All right. So with this thing, bro, like I said, it's a bigger conversation to be had here. And I know the comment section is going to be upset with me on the replay. It is what it is. Like Big Nate said, Rashad, this is your channel. If they don't like it, they can kiss your behind. Thank you, Nate, for that reassurance. There is this thing within basketball coverage and basketball media that's always kind of existed, especially in the age of the internet. It's been more heightened and more kind of focused with like blog, right? With blogs, podcasts, online basketball coverage. We're seeing coverage of basketball more in depth than ever. It's like the best coverage, the best breakdowns of basketball, the most intricate things. Like you have an entire podcast just speaking about advanced statistics of one role player on a random, 10th seed in the league. Like that's where we are right now in basketball media if you look for it long enough on online. At the same token, the stuff that's being posted and pushed on a lot of the major networks and a lot of the big wigs and the stuff that most people see on a more casual basis is the laziest basketball analysis ever, right? So it's like with the kind of, I don't know, paradox of those two things existing within the same time frame, you have a lot of the people from this world of online blogging and podcasts and things of that sort looking down upon and patronizing the people in the mainstream and the bigwigs and things of that sort. Not to say that that's necessarily 100% Bill Simmons, because Bill Simmons was a former ESPN employee and he's a $250 million man. You know what I'm saying? $250 million man and things of that sort. That's the head of the ringer and owner of the basketball book, writer of the basketball book and things of that sort. Just like a pretty much a Bible talking about the history of basketball. Despite all of those things, there's still kind of like this undertone of like, you guys aren't as smart as us. You guys aren't smart. You guys are stupid. You guys are this. You guys are that. Nikias even kind of hinted towards it like earlier this week. He said, when you ask your questions, before you ask the question, ask yourself why. The question that you thought of asking, and that will lead to more smarter and more kind of effective conversations surrounding basketball. I remember the first time Nikias was credentialed for the NBA All-Star Weekend. He went up and he uploaded a video and he said, hey, I was the only person to ask Jerry Allen an actual question about basketball during All-Star Weekend. All-Star Weekend is like the place for fun where you ask, you got any puppies? What are your puppies' names, Jared Allen? And he asked about the pick and roll and rolling with Darius Garland. Like, that's what he asked, and then he went away. And it's kind of like a patronizing tone there. There's this thing that if people have fun, that they aren't smart. Now we talking. You ain't know we was talking for real. You ain't know we was talking for real. And I say this as a person who has a lot of fun in what I do and stuff like that. Shouts out to my bro that just texted me everything like that. Shouts out to my bro. Oh, he posts. Okay, Sarah. All right, yeah. Shouts out to USA. They play tomorrow. The USA women, they play tomorrow. Where are they? Like, they're like Brazil or something like that. Shout out Flage, whole team and stuff like that. But there's this thing of like fun equals not smart. Fun equals not intelligent. And that's just not the case, bro. Like, people just choose different ways to present information. And I think at the end of the day, like when you notice that the people who break down the game and the crevices of the game to down to the each detail and everything like that, and their predictions are still all the way off. Like I seen KL, like shout out KL. KL's a cool dude and stuff like that here in Atlanta. Been covering the Hawks for, at this point, like over 10 years, right? KL Chouinard. Give him a follow. Listen to his podcast, ATL and 29 and things of that sort. KL is one of the smartest people I ever know. And one of the smartest people covering the Hawks, right? He compared Taurean Prince to Kawhi Leonard. And then, no. With the Kobe Buffkin thing, he was a little more conservative. He said, I believe that the front office sees Kobe Buffkin could potentially become this person. So I won't tag that one on him. But it's been another one that he's been all the way off. And he could break down, when you shoot from this one, you have a so-and-so percent chance of making this. The Hawks, they're short rolls. They aren't working right here. That are so-and-so in Trey spaces as well. Like he pointed out the fact that Trey like lets the ball kind of dribble out. So when he gets the ball, the shot clock, he maximizes the game clock and things like that. And Trey was like, thanks. You noticed the small things about the game. I appreciate it, everything like that. It's just, I'm saying all of this to say the smartest people are way off with their takes sometimes. So you know what that means? At the end of the day, all basketball media, all people covering the game, all people commenting the game, the fans, whether you on Jeff Teague and you laughing and things of that sort, and I know I had a problem with, and I called out Jeff Teague podcast and stuff like that before, whether you on the Gills Arena and you laughing with Gilbert and Kenyon Martin and Rashad McCants, who took away my spot as the most Googled Rashad M in the basketball world, or TNT, Stephen A, First Take, whatever the case might be, wherever you get your basketball takes from, at the end of the day, we're all guessing with like predictions. We all don't know 100%. We're guessing based off of patterns from what happened before. Because like Chuck says all the time, we ain't God, ain't no expert but God, bro. At the end of the day, so it's like to go with a patronizing tone against somebody else because the way they choose to cover the game versus the way you choose to cover the game, and both of y'all at the end of the day wrong. It's like, what's the point? You know what I'm saying? Bill Simmons probably going into the season, last season, like, oh yeah, Boston was the greatest basketball team ever. Because I've seen some people say Boston had last season the greatest NBA season ever. Like they were the best NBA team ever, right? In 2024 when they won the championship. So going into 2025, they're like, oh yeah, Boston's about to go on a run of winning 5 straight championships. That was a talk in the preseason. They could try to gaslight you into thinking that wasn't the conversation. That was the conversation. They were like, it's Boston and everybody else. That's what everybody was saying in the national media, right? In the preseason. Boston, before Tatum tore his Achilles, was struggling to get past the first round and the second round and end up losing in the second round. So it's just like, bruh, you can do all that expert stuff you want and act like you the king and the god of basketball and basketball predictions. At the end of the day, nobody knows nothing, bro. So the patronizing tone, I think it's the difference between going back and forth in debates and actual just like looking down on another human being. And I feel like a lot of times in the basketball media space and coverage, it's a lot of other people looking down on other people in the basketball media space. No one's better than anybody, bro. I don't care how smart you are. I don't care if you use the word pacifilist to describe a rebound. You're not better than anybody else, bro. Word to bro. I don't care how many million Spotify give you. You're not better than anybody else, bro. Yeah, let me see. I'm confused that Chuck, he called Kendrick for his takes out like it was an issue. That was funny. Charles going against Perk, that whole back and forth, because both of them are kind of essentially the same thing. Perk is just a little more country, so it was just funny to me that entire back and forth. In fairness, I predict the Connecticut Sun beating Chicago Sky in the finals against Vegas. That's funny. I did predict the Connecticut. It's funny. It's funny. It's funny. But you guess something different. And at the end of the day, they're all guesses, bro. Like we ain't God, dog. That's all I'm saying. Yeah, people need to take stuff more lighthearted. The way some people talk, you would think they were in an NBA front office. 100%. Even if you were in the NBA front office, like SGA was traded on draft day for Miles Bridges. They don't know what they're doing all the time either, bro. People need to be more open-minded. 100%, bro. Is more ways than one to present information. You know what I'm saying? Now, at the same time, I'm one of those people that be talking about so-and-so, but I feel like it's a difference between critiquing and being like, dang, this spot could go to someone like a Kenny Beecham. This spot can go to someone like, you know what I'm saying, a journalist who went through school and everything like that, worked his way up, like Deshaun Tate, who's been covering basketball on a grassroots level all the way through up the NBA. For the previous 15 years of his life, he's dedicated his life to the game of basketball and things of that sort. And he's still trying to find his way out of like a regional or local market on the radio scene and things of that sort. Like, I would love to see other people get opportunities as opposed to a Morris twin retires and now we got both Morris twins taking up 2 spots on First Take. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm 100% with that. But I feel like there's a difference between critiques and patronizing tones, which can kind of almost in a way also come with the undertone of a bit prejudice. And I know you hate to hear it, isn't that? But that's just what it is. When a black person speaks with a certain dialect and uses slang on the air, you equate that to, in your mind, in your subconscious, where you want to admit it or not, lack of intelligence. And I think that's a big, it's a big thing, bro. It's a big problem. Ex NBA players aren't always the best analysts. 100%. Like, I think the biggest thing when people say, "Oh, you didn't even play. If you don't play, you can't have an opinion." Asia Wilson said that, right, on the subway before the season started. I think the worst probably person with basketball, and I'll be very interested to see how this works on NBC as of right now, is Michael Jordan, bro. Michael Jordan be having the worst basketball takes. I ain't gonna lie to you. And he's the greatest player of all time. And he be having the worst basketball takes. And he drafted Kwame Brown, and he drafted Michael Kidd Gilchrist, and he drafted, you know what I mean? So it's just like, I don't know, bro. I think keep it to critiquing. Keep it cute. That's all I'm saying. Keep it cute. Keep it to critiquing. Because when you get to that patronizing tone and think that someone just overall, you tried their overall intelligence, I think that's when it gets over the line. And it's a problem that we've had in this space for a long time. And it translates to real life. It's bigger than that. So, yeah.
That's for losers, man. I don't get involved in that stuff, but.
And Rashad Milligan rolling out.
That's a good question.
Brandon,
We
you want one quick
can't
question?
ask Rashad a question.
Hey, Rashad.